2.
I want pickles now.
Right.
We all want pickles.
Yeah, I want pickles too. Welcome to another live chat. We are reviewing Stranded Prey by Troy McCombs, or McCombs, right? Is that how you say it?
McCombs?
Okay,
McCombs?
McCombs, yeah. And just welcome. Hello.
Hi.
We have Carleni, Crystal, and Angela, and Emily. All right, so you guys could just start. Where do you want to start? Is the question. What is
Well,
the first thing you guys want to talk
I
about?
I have a question. I don't know if the author's gonna answer us like through the.
Hold on,
No.
because there's no one like right now. No one's watching. He
Mhm.
says send me the link, but I did already. All right, hold on. Let me send him the link already.
We could go over our general feelings about it to
All right,
start.
I agree. Go ahead, Crystal. You go first. You're
Um,
the genius.
ah, no, not genius, but anyway. So I didn't overly like the book, to be honest. I felt it was really cliche. The errors in writing made it very difficult to get through. There were some interesting bits here and there, but overall, I don't think it's something I would want to reread, and it's definitely not something I would totally recommend to everybody. As a result, I give it like a 1.5 or 2 stars.
Okay.
Carleni, you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I'll go next. I have to agree with Crystal. It I do love myself some action horror, and I felt like. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay, you can watch the iPad. It's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. Um, and it did feel cliche. I felt like I had already read the book, or like I had read parts of the book before, or have seen it in a movie. It felt a lot like Jeepers Creepers to me, except more gore. I mean, like Jeepers Creepers, everybody dies in it, but like it just felt even more gory and, as Crystal said, cliche. From like it seemed like all the gory parts from every horror book I've read lately, all encompassed in that one book, and it just felt a little off. Like tried to put too many things in one, and it for me overall, the most I would give it is 2 stars out of 5. And I think if the editing was better done, the point of view changes, not the point of view change being fixed. Um, that huge chapter that was repeated in the middle of the book, like if that were changed, I would give it at least a 3 out of 5 stars. I mean, I didn't overall absolutely hate the book. I just it was hard for me to read it when there were so many glaring errors for me as a reader, with the point of view changing. And later on, Crystal will explain about the the anatomy things that didn't work how they were supposed to work. Your
Oh,
turn,
and she's
Angela.
muted. I'm like, she's muted. She's done. Um, so I rated the book a 2 out of 5. Generally, my middle grade 3 out of 5 means that I enjoyed the book. I wouldn't reread the book, but it'd be something that maybe somebody was looking for that particular genre. I might recommend it. At the moment, I don't recommend it because of what Crystal and Carleni also said. Some of the editing errors were difficult to keep track of. Even characters. I felt like I didn't have much of an attachment to the characters. There was some backstory to give you an image in your mind or something to hold on to, but with some of the point of view changes, it felt like there's too fast of a shift. Like I couldn't keep up with who was doing what, and then when you shifted to a new point of view and you're like, wait a minute, who am I with? Or even the teachers being called by their first name. I'm like, is there another kid out there that I just don't remember? And even in the end, when he shifts between a parent to a parent's first name. He doesn't even say mom or dad, and I'm like, who is that? Oh, it's their parents. Okay, no problem. So there were just parts that felt not as connected for me as a reader to the character to even be really worried about what the heck's happening to that character. I want to be emotionally attached. I love horror. There's Stephen King and Dean Koontz filled in my bookshelves. And the differences in the horror that I love and the horror that I had just read in Stranded, it missed some of that spookiness that it could have had. This book could have had a lot more to it, and the originality, like we're trying to figure out, did it have something that felt like we had already read it before? I didn't really get a super strong feeling for that, but there could have been so much more. And I believe that there are definitely shining moments in his writing that we felt, or I felt, that you could be placed inside that woods. You could be, there were fast parts where I was like, okay, he's in his groove. We're ready. We're doing it. And then I'm like, who is that again? And just the disconnect. I wish there was some editor who was holding his hand when he finished this book and published it. And just one guiding, strong somebody who can be like, well, are you sure you wanted to do that? Or if you developed this? I don't know. I wanted more, too. I just wanted more from the characters, more from the backstory, more that made me care about what was going to happen next. I love the little romance that's thrown in there, but it wasn't developed on. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, we'll throw that in there because they're teenagers or something. And again, who wants to tell me, is this YA or is this adult? Anybody got a guess?
I guessed adult. There's way too much blood and gore, and adult concepts are involved a lot with like the alcohol and drug abuse that gets involved. And like even towards the end when we get this overlooming lesson of like humans are destroying themselves, it seems far too adult to just throw at a YA audience, to be honest.
And even then there's 17 pushing 18. So
Yeah, I
that's
thought
why,
this
or
was
even
more of a,
new adult.
yeah, new adult. I like that.
Not a young one,
Let-
but a
let-
newish one.
Let's go with that one from now on. It's not YA, but it's not fully adult, so it's new adult. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts, twin? You got a comment?
Well, I didn't get to really finish it, but I know enough.
Yeah.
It didn't really grab me from the beginning, and I was really trying to like finish because Troy is here.
Hi, Troy.
I was really trying to, hi Troy, to read it, but time, it's like I have hardly any. But while on the bus, I read, I was up to page 80, and it didn't really grab me. Like usually by page 80, I'm already like really hooked and into it. And he said hi. It was a little hard to get into it. There were a few things that really, caught my eye, and I was like hoping that it picked up. It will pick up a little, but uh, as far as I read, it didn't really grab me.
Hey, Carleni.
Yes.
Was your question about inspiration?
Yes. I wanted to know if the I'll give you 1 second, okay, sweetie? I wanted to know if the book was inspired by horror movies, like in a specific horror movie, or just was it just a general thought? Because it did seem like, to me personally, like a lot of horror movies I saw recently, like not that they recently came out, just that I've been watching a lot of horror movies lately, so they're in my mind right now. So I just wanted to know if they were inspired by horror movies, and that's why it all seems like all the parts from horror movies are in this book or not. You can probably phrase that better than I can. I'm kind of distracted because Olivia's swinging on the table.
Oh, how nice. We love children. So hopefully Troy will get a chance to respond. Was that something that inspired him to write this book? His love for horror, or was it a amalgamation of horror movies that gave it that feel? I know that in the little blurb at the end of the book, he's been writing since he was in 3rd grade. Oh, there we go. 4th grade. Oh my goodness. Oh, so last year you wrote it. Okay.
Okay.
So he must have really enjoyed it in order to want to revisit. And, oh gosh, 4th grade. I couldn't imagine. I have a 4th grader. I couldn't imagine her having the idea that there are people, humanoids out in the woods who lure them in and eat their brains. I guess. I don't know.
I have a 3rd grader, and I could so see it, because Justin,
Boys.
I guess it's like the difference between boys and girls, because you have a girl, right? And I
Yes.
have the boy, and he's in the 3rd grade, and I could so see him writing some creepy stuff like this. Like, I could really see that.
Yep.
Yeah, because even
boys
now,
and girls.
he does things like that. He'll just
Night and
write.
day.
Yeah, they're definitely so
I
different.
feel like, as an adult now, it's something I would have written, like, because I'm really into the whole, weird death thing. So, like, people eating other people's brains in order to get their strength or their power and stuff. It's part of Native American culture, I believe. And, like, if you eat a part of a certain part of a person's body, that you would get that strength. Like, if the person had good heart or something, you eat their heart. Look, I watched it in an episode of Bones, and it's been stuck in my head.
Troy said my brother went on a high school field trip to Chicago when I was in 4th grade. That's where I came up with the general idea.
So I wonder if he wanted his brother to get stuck in the woods and be a savior, or
were you mad at your brother?
Did he want to be one of the?
Was he one?
Did he want him to be one of the victims?
It's a good question.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to know. Like, is your brother?
No.
He said no. Okay, good. Well, I'm hoping you weren't mad at him. Your brother's still alive, right? You didn't hit him with a pan after he came back, no?
Probably really happy to see him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that's quite a difference in age groups, if 4th grade versus high school.
I don't know where my ideas come from. You're an author. That happens.
Dreams. Yeah. Brain for it.
Imagination. That's my son's favorite word, by the way. Imagination.
What is it?
Oh, he wants to join the chat. That's so cute.
Well, she hasn't read the book. She can't. Sorry.
She won't be allowed to read the book for another, like,
Oh, his
13
brother's
years.
alive, and his brother's 6 years older. So, okay. He's good. All right, Crystal, you look like you want to say something.
Hi.
That's hilarious.
Poor Carleni. She has to multitask. I've sent mine to a different part of the house.
Yeah, me too. You can hear her in the background, though. All right, Crystal, you look like you want to say something.
I have a few questions for the group. I know Angela touched on this a little bit. We get backstory on some of the characters, but I wanted to know how you felt about that, because I personally felt like it was a lot of info dumping, and it really doesn't get brought back up, and as a result, I felt like it was miscellaneous information that really, like Angela was saying earlier, you don't get really attached to these characters, because it is pretty much info dumps, and I wanted to know how you guys felt about more, I guess a little more in depth about how you guys felt about the backstories.
Well, I don't know if Twin got far enough, and Carleni's at the moment, in between. So I'll answer. I didn't feel so much of the info dumping, but the things that can't come to mind the quickest are Sam's backstory. Sam, the sinner. You needed that to see his arc. So his backstory made some sense to me, and he was easier to hold on to. I didn't feel like we had much of Shauna except for at that quick blip, and all of a sudden she's gone, and I'm like, where who is she again? And then you get her in the cave, and you don't get much from her there about except for why'd she get singled out? Why'd she get to have a savior who brought her to the cave, and why her? And you don't get a feeling of why she gets singled out or special treatment. And then you get to see that she's special to Will at the end. Like, you kind of get a little bit of her, and the reputation thing, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was connected to the storyline, especially in, like, you almost want information about surviving or overcoming things. Mr. Sandler, that was his name, was Mick Sandler. I don't know, did you get much from him? You heard that he was an angry person, and how the heck you get a guidance counselor like that? But I don't know.
We get a moment where he's like, it's explained that he grew up with a father who believed that assertive voices were the only ones that got heard, and so he kind of internalized that mentality. And you get a little bit about his home life with his wife. Apparently, they fight a lot. Something about their love has gone stale, and I felt a lot of that was just like not entirely necessary. Yeah. I know we get a couple of other characters in the beginning. I don't even remember who goes to what parents.
Their names?
Well, no, I know their names. I just don't know, like, the backstory matched to who, because it was, like, quick, like, here's their life, and go on. And it was, like, within, like, the 80 pages, they were walking in the woods, and, like, especially when they go to look for Shauna in the beginning, like, you get 3 quick info dumps on people's backgrounds that these things never come up later, these people don't make it anyway, so it's like,
I feel you, Crystal. I feel it.
Yeah. And with the Shauna thing, like, there was something you brought up was that she gets singled out, and there's this huge, long, almost 2 pages about her and her parents fighting over whether or not she's religious. And I felt, at first I thought like this was going to culminate into something, because you get a bunch of different type of religions. You've got this very sacrificial religion to gain souls, and then you've got this very Christian modern religion. And I guess I wanted to know what you guys thought about that, because that was like a good 2 pages, and then suddenly like nothing else brought up.
I'm sorry.
We all got distracted because Lindsay's like, we can't hear you. I can hear you, but I don't.
I'm sorry. I'm so out of it. This is the first time this ever happened. Olivia, watch The Witch. Just watch The Witch, please. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Not that witch, the other witch.
Yeah, the other witch. And like I felt like there were a lot of times where I wish there was more. Like you said, the whole like it could have been added more. Like I did feel like I wanted to learn more about their survival than I did about them all getting killed off.
Okay, do you guys, I have a question, since I can't really participate that much. Do you guys have like a favorite moment in the book? Is there like a scene that kind of stands out that you were like, oh my God, or at least you just were like, okay, you know, I kind of like this.
Not so much that the scene that I liked, but the scene that gets stuck in my head is the scene that was repeated twice.
You're like, wait a minute, this is really familiar.
Like I read this before, so like that is stuck in my head. You know, Will and Jeff coming back to the camp, and
Richard being stuck in the tree.
Yes, Richard being stuck in the tree. Like, I'm sorry. So like it's stuck in my head. Like it's just a very something that I could actually see in my brain, just because it was mentioned twice, and because like at the moment we were talking about how getting lost in the woods and stuff like that. And like just imagining the woods in my mind, I could see that scene for me.
It was vivid, yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Bye, Emily. So I think that the
It's just
part that
connecting my
really
charger.
ah something that really stuck out. It felt like that last 40, 50 pages of the book. It seemed like Troy had a better grasp on what the heck he was doing, almost like he had done that first. Like he had the premise, I'm going to send these kids out, and he might have written the ending first, because there was almost a groove that he made it into, and I was burning through that ending part, because I was like, is anybody going to make it out? Are they all going to die? So like the showdown, like Will being with Richard and with Aaron, and you've got the Molotov cocktail, and you've got arrows, and you've got all of a sudden they're shooting guns, and you're like, where did they get rifles? Did they wait until this point to kill them off? Because I thought they wanted to eat their souls. They got to capture them alive, like mostly unharmed, in order to eat their souls. And they got to seal everything up, and that was like super graphic. So that I might have nightmares about. I was like, it's really nasty.
Maybe they were planning to kneecap them.
What was that?
Like that, kneecapping somebody, just make them hurt enough that they can't walk, run away.
Yeah, to incapacitate them. There were times where I was like, I felt that like there was dangling things, but at the moment I can't think of any of them. But yeah, that last groove was definitely something that I was like, maybe they'll all die. I don't mind if they all die. Maybe they'll all die.
That would have been a twist. About everybody dying.
I was channeling Lindsay. I'm like, they all die in pain!
By the way, Lindsay, if you're watching, you're a big fat liar, by the way. They didn't all die, you freaking liar. I love you, though. I found out they didn't die. What was I going to tell you? Well, I like the beginning, like when it, yeah, they have before in other stories, though. Oh, damn. I'm sorry, that was a comment by Troy. He said they have before in other stories, though. So I guess he had killed a whole bunch of people, like every single one in their books. I'm like, dang it. I like the first, like the beginning of the book. I was like, oh, okay, this might be something that's gonna get like really, really interesting, because he's like, this whole like scene, and then we're gonna eat this and that, and then he just wakes up screaming in the middle of class, and I was like, oh, dang it! Dang it!
Dream!
I was waiting for something to jump out at him, and it kind of like, that caught me. So it was pretty interesting. That stood out for me. But then again, I finished, so probably there's something in there that might stick out. But I'm sorry, work has me really busy.
Anything stick out for you, Crystal?
I think I keep coming back to like Jamie's death scene, I guess, and I think a lot of it was because it was so brutal. I felt like it wasn't like super. I wouldn't like to say it was super great imagery, because like there was a lot of like she was dragged.
Yeah.
Oh, we're finally here. And I felt like some of it could be cut down, but like I think just the raw brutality of it and like the shock factor that came into that sealed it in my brain a little bit more, though later on it wasn't as surprising because it had occurred and we had seen it. So.
All right.
Yeah, that part.
Is there something that besides editing, you're not allowed to say anything about the editing, so something about the book that, like, in the story that you hated?
Yeah.
Hate's such a strong word, Emily.
Well, you know what I mean. Disliked. Oh my God, I always say hate, and you guys always give me crap for it.
I will every time.
You know what I mean.
It's gonna take a lot for me to hate something.
Yeah, that's true.
There has to be some personal level on there that put hate.
I know. I freaking hate them. All right, no. Is there something that you kind of were like, really, or just plain like couldn't really, see yourself, like, if that happened to you? Oh yeah, that's the thing that's gonna happen. Like,
Carleni looks deep in thought. You want to share?
For me, I don't know. I just felt like the Will being the chosen one, or Crystal describes it as the chosen one, but like I feel like
Well, he
there's so
does
many
too.
chosen one stories.
Mm-hmm.
Like why does somebody have to be a chosen one? Why couldn't it be like a chosen group and he still gets killed? Like I want to get. I'm sorry, I'm tired of chosen ones.
You want the chosen one to be killed. I want to
Yeah,
know what
that
happens.
would be a twist.
Anarchy.
Holy crap, where is this gonna go if the chosen one died?
Right, and that's an interesting idea. If the chosen one dies, does that mean it's automatically going to hell? Is there no redemption? Is there a chance for somebody else to fill in and become more than what the chosen one was destined for? That would be a very interesting twist. If you kill off the one that's supposed to save everybody, do you delve into anarchy, or does somebody else or a group of someone else's
Like
step up?
would it fall down to like the sidekicks, like
Mm-hmm.
or something like that? That would be nice. Like I mean, like
Just a
there's
little
only
different.
three. It's
You
only
just
three
want
of
a
them
little
left
twist. That's what
alive.
you want. You want a little twist in your story, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like at this point, we all know the chosen one's gonna live. We all know he's gonna or she is going to end up saving the world. But like, what if they don't? Like
Kind of like
that's
when
and
Lindsay killed Kira.
Yeah.
That was lovely, by the way. Thanks for that.
That's a twist. That's a fun twist.
Yeah, the same
Um,
thing with Tyler.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
those were things that had my eyes coming like just right out of my head,
That
like,
can
what are
happen.
you doing? Oh,
No, I was ready for Troy to kill every single person. I really was. I was like, okay, let's do this. Everybody can die.
I think that's
yeah.
the thing that bothered me was because like after a while like the repetitiveness of the death and like I
Mm.
guess it's just a lot of the way like a lot of the writing courses I've taken like it's a big no-no to kill everybody because then the story ends and there's no real resolution, there's no climax, there's no end, it's just death. And so I guess like for me after a while I was like, all right, we get it. People are dying. Don't kill everybody. So I was really glad there were survivors, but after a while I was like, I'm so tired of like listing out names of dead people.
Keeping track of them.
and you do have a list.
I
You do
do.
have a list. I couldn't keep track of all the deaths because I kept getting
So we could
confused with
have
names.
apply Lindsay's list. I mean Lindsay's little sign to this. They all
Mhm.
die in the end.
Almost
Almost
all
All
of
but
die
them.
in the
three.
end.
All but three.
Yeah.
People make it. One's very badly injured. Oh, I have a question for you guys. How did you guys feel about the two murderers and the rape victim suddenly being thrown in there? Like that was like really sudden. Didn't really
Random.
advance the plot. It was just like more people to die. And I was like,
Yes.
so what did you guys think?
It was a bit random.
Mhm.
Like I know that in real life it is like that. There are murderers amongst us and rape victims and stuff like that. But like it just felt added in out of nowhere.
Agreed. Absolutely. And what is the impact? I had it in my head that in this world, the only people who arrived were people who were drawn in, not people wandering in. Like, this wasn't an actual road that people could drive on. It was almost like a shielded thing. People didn't wander in, people couldn't wander off. That was the power of these primordial people. That there was almost an invisible boundary. Nothing came in, nothing left. And that the 5 or 6 humanoid beings or whatever drew people in, and they only had so much power to draw people in, and they used it when they needed it, not because they were power hungry or whatever. It was purposeful. And why would these humanoids want to bring in people who have a working vehicle? Are they going to help? Is there a possibility that they're going to flag them down fast enough that they can turn the car around and leave? Was this a Hail Mary for the people who are reading the book? They're like, oh my God, there's a car. There could be more cars. And it turns out to be this shifty group. And would they, like, if the point is to get two brains that will increase your power and longevity, why would you bring in people who could kill your food source? It doesn't make any sense to me. That did bother me. That was another one of those little bits, like the point of view shifts. I was like, I'm a smart person. I can keep up. I'm totally with it. But there wasn't enough before the point of view shift to have an attachment to the character enough to be able to shift to them. Because you shift with no warning, no little dots or breaks or something, or a quick little thing that says so-and-so's point of view, just to give me a transition and be like, all right, I'm totally in there. And I guess stream of omniscience, you're supposed to be aware of everything, but then I'm like, who are these people again? I have no connection to them. I've got no frame of reference to want to be like, oh, this is that strong kid who's going to be a Marine, and he's got some serious anger issues, but he's a survivor, and he's going to take off and save everybody. Those little things. And Crystal, we never talked about your religious aspect. Yes, that did feel like you wanted it. I wanted that information to get used. I wanted Shauna to have some kind of interaction that would solidify or support the experiences that she's going through. You get that long bit, and then you get a quick, oh yeah, she's going to church no matter what. And I'm like, okay, I guess you tied that one up, but I wanted more. If you're going to give me that much, give me more. Tie it in. And we've lost Emily. And Carlini. It's just you and me.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm here. What are you talking about? I'm here.
Well, you muted yourself.
Oh, because some crazies were walking into the room.
I feel
Little
like
people crazy. Go ahead.
I feel like a lot of the information in this book, like I feel like there were a lot of things that were being attempted, but there were too many things. There were so many ideas that this author wanted to pursue, but as a result, a lot of the ideas start and then get lost, and then like somehow it's supposed to all culminate into this idea of humanity as its own destruction, because that towards the end, like that's repeated like clockwork.
Yep.
So I figured like that was like what he eventually settled on, but I feel like most of that isn't what we get most of the book. We get a bunch of different other possible themes that just don't pan out. And I feel like this could use a lot more focusing on one particular theme. If the theme is humanity is its own doom, then focus on that. And that was the only possible explanation I could have for like the murderers coming in, was like this idea that these are awful people doing awful things to their own kind. So it's not just monsters are these primordial beasts. They're also among us in our normal lives. But like I don't feel like it's portrayed overly clear, and I feel like it could be tightened up.
Yes, agreed. I'd also like to know why Will is the chosen one. What in our backstory do we get that suggests that he is this pure heart or other? I needed more from him to understand. Like, most of the times we're willing. Just give us information.
Other than the premonitions, he was just normal.
There was a brief mention. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Carlini, Crystal's
pointing at Carlini.
I was like, oh, go. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, I don't know what's going on. Go.
Okay, I'm gonna say my piece. It's gonna be super short. So I just felt like I thought he was the chosen one because of the premonitions. But other than that, it's just, he knows how to kill them because of the premonitions, but that's about it. Like, there isn't much about him. And, like, I'd like to know more about him, since I feel, it is about him, him saving the world or whatever.
And she's done. Crystal, you have more.
I was going to say, at the end, the elder mentioned something about the soul has reincarnated enough times that it becomes extremely powerful. And then you get this kind of idea that this isn't the first time a soul like this has appeared type of thing throughout the story. And I feel like that could have been expanded on a lot more clearly, because if it is about his past lives, how does that tie in? Did, like, in a past life he managed to beat them back a little bit, or
And that's where he showed restraint. He didn't add in reincarnation.
but he
That
did
could
say
be
it.
yeah,
Well, he
it's
said
true.
it though.
He
And so,
alludes
like,
to it. Yeah.
yeah, because the elder the elder flat out states, a soul's strength is based on the amount of times it's reincarnated, and yours is like
Mhm.
super strong. And I was like, wait, so this is because he's reincarnated a lot? So does that
Mhm.
mean, like, if another person has been reincarnated more times, that person becomes chosen one? How does this all work? Like, I was very, it was
I'd
quick
like
because,
to. No, I'm totally with you. I'd like to know where Irma managed to survive. Why is this young girl able to help people? I like it because, it moves the story along, but what was special about her? And
I
and we don't get that.
there
Go,
was
Chris.
like a brief mention of, like, they messed up the ceremony, so I'm guessing something didn't get sealed properly. There was a small hole, her soul escaped, but is still tied because of the tragedy. That's
Yeah,
as much as I can get.
it must have been a
Honestly,
brief thing. But again, we need
Crystal
that
paid
in
more
order
more and
to.
more attention than I did because I don't remember that. But
No,
like
I remember what she was saying because it references Jamie's thing, and I think Shauna had some kind of connection too because she had seen it happen. She was seeing some of the other people, and I'm like, okay. And the whole mind reading thing,
hmm
I was like, okay, I can go with it. Just give me something to hold on to so that I can keep
yeah,
going with you. Like, I'd like to stay with the story. So if you're
like there
gonna
were
have me
so
go
many
there, keep me. So many
there were
what?
so many little bits, so
Yeah.
many little bits that could have been like one of those little bits could have been expanded into so much more to
Mm.
make it how do you say be fleshed out. Like if the premonition thing had been fleshed out, if the uh crap, like the ghost thing had been fleshed out. Like there's so much that could have been expanded on that
Mm.
would have made it less. Would have made it like it would have
More
moved more.
connected.
Yeah, and it would
Yeah.
have been more connected. It just felt like it just it was all dropped into a giant pie, and I hope that it made sense to you.
Mhm. Yep, that totally makes sense because there were. I love little hints. I love when you read a book and you're like, oh, when is this going to crop up? Or, oh, this is going to be useful for that. And a lot of those threads are dropped or not expanded upon or never picked back up, which ties into the idea of the information dumps. Are you doing this because it sounds cool? Are you doing this because there's something you want to do with it? Or is it just there? And if there was, I guess that is a good thing. If your book that you've read you want to have more from it, then there is a backbone, there is a skeletal system to the story and plot that we're interested enough. We really want to get there with you, and if we're asking for more, then you've got something. But if you leave us hanging or dump a bunch of information on us and there's no way to stick to that plot to improve and solidify and grow something that we are all attached to and want a page turn, because there were definitely sequences where you're like, okay, what's happening next? They're surviving and we're running and we're gonna try to make it through and we're gonna use our wiles, and then you're like, okay, where am I again? And who was that again? That would jar you, and you'd be like, okay, now what?
Gotcha.
Agreed.
I always have lots to say about the books that I have more difficulty with. I'm always like, what is going on? I want you to do better. I know you
Yeah.
can.
um, if you could pick, I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna pick the same thing. If
Mm.
you could pick one thing that you could like completely change about the book, what would you pick?
Are you gonna make us not choose editing
I'm
like a
gonna
good
let you
editor?
choose whatever you want.
All right. I think, I mean, the thing that messed me up the most was the point of view change. And I don't know if it was supposed to be an omnipresent point of view, or if it, excuse me, or if it was supposed to follow one character or chapter. There was no transition for me to understand who was the point of view, like who the point of view was at the time. So like it would be in Will's point of view, or like I know following Will for 1 second, and then all of a sudden Richard was talking, or one of the or Jeff was talking, and I'm like, wait, wasn't Will talking? Weren't
Mm,
we in his head just a second ago? Like I just felt like if that could be changed, I would definitely enjoy reading it more.
hmm
Or like not this for me, if it had there had been like at least two spaces in between
mm,
the point of view change, that would have made such a huge difference for me. Like it
mhm.
would have made so much sense.
Okay.
Little visual cue, just a little bit. Crystal, how about you?
See, I have to go probably no, because like while the editing was like problematic, I feel like a lot of it was just the idea that there was too much going on.
Mm,
It was overwhelming. Um, Not everything, like we've been saying, not everything was important to the story, and I feel like we've been saying this entire time, picking one idea and sticking to it.
yeah.
Okay. Twin.
Yeah, for me, um, I find that the books that I get the most out of, I'm connected to the characters. I feel something for them. Either I'm rooting them for them to win, or I'm disliking them so much that I'm rooting for the other guy to win. I missed that connection in this book. I missed that feeling of something. And I certainly do enjoy books from both male or female perspectives. I can totally throw myself into a guy's point of view. I love that sometimes. I feel like I know the people around me better when I'm reading from a male's point of view. Um, but maybe a little bit more backstory, a little bit more character somewhere so that I can feel like I'm connected to them versus, oh, there's a little information about them, or oh, they're running, or oh, they're fighting for their life. I needed more connection to their characters in order to even care. I don't know how many pages I made it through where I'm like, I don't care. I really don't. They can all die because I don't care. Um, Maybe throw the romance with Shauna earlier. He finds the book sooner and he's like, wait a minute, I've always been interested in her and he wants to save her as well as the group or humanity. If it doesn't have to have a romance aspect that he wants to save humanity, come to that realization earlier. I don't know. Something that makes me connected to at least Will, if not the bulk of the characters, so that I'm concerned and I'm going reading pages going, wait a minute, what happened to Jeff? Or wait a minute, where's Richard? I need more from the characters in order to enjoy the book and not
Yeah.
just watch it happen.
In that I could agree with you. I felt like I didn't get. I usually by how much I read, I usually have a favorite character and someone I want to like just make
hmm
sure they're there at the end of the book intact. Nothing's happening to them.
hmm
And I still haven't found that one person, as far as I read. So I agree.
I'm s-
For me, if so far, that would be the thing I would want to change. I would want to know more, to care more, so that at the end I'm like, please don't let this be the person that dies because I
hmm
really, 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 really like him or her. You know, that, yeah, that kind of like, now that you mention it, kind of sticks out the fact that I'm really not attached to anyone right now. And I should be because I'm almost halfway through,
Yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's
Yeah.
bath time and I need to go. I'm sorry.
Bath time.
All right, no problem.
She's been singing bath time for the last 5 minutes, so I'm sorry. I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll review the chat
Sounds good.
later. Yeah. See you guys.
Bye, Carolini.
Bye.
Bye, Liv.
Aw.
She's
Yeah.
adorable.
We should have thrown that one last in there. Like, how many pages of a book do you give it before you give up? Or is it a percentage of your book?
Usually, I feel like if I'm not attached by, I'm not even gonna say. Oh, he said thanks. I think he meant to Carleni.
Probably.
If I'm not attached to to at least a character, or really like wanting to know, okay, what's in the next page, by like maybe the second chapter, I'm already like a little like, oh, this is gonna be bad. I'm gonna have to like really push myself because I don't like not finishing books.
Yep.
It really like it annoys me when I'm like right now so busy that I can't really read, and like that's like good to me because I'm a bookworm. I need books to like breathe and survive and feel like I'm living, you know. And right now I am not reading, so I am like seriously dying on the inside. Um, but yeah, I feel like if by chapter 2 I'll say I'm not attached or
Interested.
really rushing to like get to the next page, we have a problem.
How about you, Crystal?
A lot of it, I guess, depends on the length of the book. Longer books, I'll give them 100 pages. Shorter books, I'll give them about 50 pages to grab my interest. But like Emily said, I don't typically give up on a book. I see it through to the end, but usually by that point, I'm like, all right, the rating's going down. My interest is taking a nosedive. Things like that happen, and yeah, it does become harder to finish the book, but eventually I do.
So I'm sorry, Twin, for a minute. I have to say that in the case of Troy's book, I haven't given up. It's page 80, and I'm still standing. So that says something.
Yeah, I had to push. I really did. And similar to Emily and Crystal, not finishing something is against my nature. I'm one of those start to finish. Like, if I reread a series or something, I can't really start the series. Like, say I love something so much and it's got 4 or 6 books or whatever. If I start at the first book, I tend to keep going until I make it to the end. Even in a reread, I can't just read one book. It's just not the way I'm programmed, and I like to see things completed. And, there's something satisfying about taking something and going from start to finish and trying to find the journey, because maybe it can redeem itself. But if this was not a book club read and I had hit the double set of Will and Jeff and then Richard, I would have been like, and I'm done. The mic drop. I can't do it. I'm like, how do you miss that? But I'm glad I finished because he definitely did pick it back up. I was like, all right, this is a book club read. I got to see it to the end. Maybe he'll redeem himself. And there was more. There was more. And there were a few dangling plot things that got tied up and other things that I'm like, wait a minute. We don't care anymore? That part that we spent time on, it's not coming up? Okay. Maybe it'll be addressed in another edition. You can always hope for that. Drafting. You can rewrite it. Didn't Lindsay rewrite Bloodlines a bunch of times? So you can totally do it.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely something there. There's definitely something like if you tweak it, this book could like really give you nightmares.
Yes, absolutely.
There's definitely a few things that you would just be like, holy shit, I am sleeping with all the goddamn lights on. I need a buddy to like sit next to me and watch over me all night. Like they were, there's, as far as I read, there's a few things that I'm just like, oh, okay, I don't want to be alone tonight. So there's something there. There's definitely, forget it, a few tweaks, and it's not even a lot. It's just a few things that if you move them around, take them out completely, like you definitely have something that you could just forget it,
Mm-hmm.
grab
Well,
people, and
it
they won't let you.
actually makes you appreciate water sources quite a bit. Makes you
Yeah,
appreciate, like, maybe next time when you go on a field trip or you're in your car or whatever, you're going to keep an extra gallon of water in there or a couple of
it
snacks
makes you
because
think. Yeah,
that how many times did they sleep? Was it more than 2 nights? Was it 3? Crystal, do you remember how long
The
they were out there?
See, I thought they were out there a lot longer, though they towards the end were saying like still 2 nights. So
They
I was
were.
thinking it was 2 or 3. That's what they were saying, but I was counting possibly 3 nights. But they said two, so I guess the characters know what they were doing.
Yes, it's true. And that might have been a point of view thing. We might have missed a shift and it was somebody else's night and thinking it was a third night. Um, uh, I don't know. How many days can you make it? Without food, you can make it a week, right? And without
Without food,
water, 5,
you can go 3 weeks, and theoretically without water, you can make it 3 days.
3 days.
It's usually it's like a rule of threes type thing, is what I've been
Yeah.
taught.
And you would know because you've got a little bit of medical background hanging out there. Um, I don't know. I was curious how they were still going. If they're running for their life, or Sam is running as fast as the freaking wind, where is this coming from? Is that supernatural? Is he being helped along by the ghosts that are the spirits that are? Is Irma helping when he's running so fast that he can outrun the humanoid doohickey guys, the bad guys?
and how
Um,
and how is he not getting dehydrated? It's the
yeah.
question.
How are they not all passing out?
Yeah, yeah. So
I
like I
feel like
said, just a few things that you tweak and it makes sense.
Crystal knows the answers.
Well, I feel like that was actually handled a little bit on the like that was one of the things I felt he handled pretty well because
Mm,
like you do get Sam towards the end. He's weak. He's dizzy when he stands up. He's been lying in this bear cave for a
yep.
while trying to conserve energy. Um, and when they finally do find water, they don't consider, well, hey, this is a stream. This could be a trap. I need that water.
Mm,
So like you do actually start to get it. Multiple of the characters get the shakes.
yeah.
The dehydration and stuff gets to them so bad. So I feel like it was handled pretty well because like it's also
Mm.
mentioned that obviously adrenaline keeps you going because Sam pretty much at
Mm,
one point is near the end of his life. And then he sees the possum and he's like, all right, well finally I'm gonna kill this possum. But then the adrenaline kicks in when he sees the beast and he's gone. He's up that hill even though even he states like he knew it was an energy waster to go up the hill,
yeah.
but adrenaline, you're just at that point you're in it for more survival. So
Yeah.
adrenaline is a great drug.
Mm,
Yeah, dude.
mm. When you're
Yeah,
running for your life, absolutely.
and apparently, just like all great drugs, the moment it's gone, you're just dropping like a rock.
Oh yeah, and use can actually cause like more damage than good.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people in today's society they suggest that there's a lot of anxiety and stuff because we do have the adrenaline, we get
Hmm.
stressed, we have the adrenaline, but no release for that adrenaline, and it because it's so prolonged, that's what causes like sleep disorders and things like that. At least that's what I've read in a lot of medical journals.
Interesting.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Jinx twin.
Oh, we're doing the twinsy thing again.
It's true. It
Twinning.
happens all the time. We're just about at our hour. Is there anything else we want to talk about?
Let me see.
I sorry. Go ahead, Crystal.
Oh, I'm checking my list.
Oh, and
She has a list.
while you check, I'm gonna ask Troy is like if he has any questions on things that we didn't cover or just questions in general. Or Lindsay too, because I know Lindsay's watching.
I hope she's sleeping better.
Yeah, me too. I haven't been able to talk to her. I miss her.
You're sleeping better, aren't you?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm out like a light by 10. Like the latest is
Nice.
10. I can't. I'm running around after seven little babies. Like
Adorable.
yeah, they are adorable. That's why I'm still standing. The fact that they're just too cute, and I'm just like, because if not, I would have been like,
Yep. No. Crystal, was there anything left?
I have like two things. I know we keep touching on this. Well, actually, I think the romance thing probably has been covered. So my other question is, there's a lot of modern references in this novel. We get references to ISIS when we get Richard.
Mm,
yeah,
To go to, we get a lot of really modern things. I wanted, like, I actually enjoyed that touch. Like, I felt like it worked really well, especially because in fact this is a pretty fantastical type of thing going on. Granted, morbid. So I thought the modernity really kept things in perspective for me, but also like made it a little more interesting in my opinion. I wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
I thought it was random. I didn't connect any modern and I'm like, oh, we're gonna throw ISIS in. Okay, whatever.
yeah. No, I
That
actually
felt
felt
like
like Crystal. I was like, oh, whoa. I felt like, wait, isn't ISIS like happening now? Like I was kind of like psyched. I was like, whoa, hold on. Yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that was in there. I didn't find it kind of like, whatever. It was kind of like, oh man, I kind of felt like he just wrote the book yesterday and sent it to me today.
it
That's
was
how it
placed
felt.
time well. Yeah.
And Lindsay says I never sleep well, laughing out loud. I'm used to it. Smiley face. And Troy said, no, it seems like you guys know this book as well as much as I do, laughing out loud. So I guess we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, because we love books and we love to review them and talk to each other about it, what the
Yep.
books are. So hopefully we have provided him with some honest and constructive information um, in order to improve himself or improve the story itself. I did have that little interaction with him on Goodreads, and we're not out to rip people apart. We're
No,
just
definitely
trying
not.
to enjoy the next greatest books, and you never know what you've got wrapped up in there when we get books sent to us by authors or we're introduced to other authors. You never know what's in there. And even if it isn't the genre that we love, we never know. There are plenty of times when, what was it, sci-fi, when we were reading The Martian, a couple of the girls were like, I don't think I'd pick this up. And we still enjoyed it. So you
Yeah.
never know. And
Yeah.
it's
I don't read sci-fi as often. Like I read it, but not as often as I read other stuff. But I like it. The Martian was like awesome sauce. So
mhm.
I'm not like I don't discriminate against books unless you're, nonfiction, and we have a problem.
Yep.
I don't know how ay Dios mío, the one with the soldier, Kyle, American
Oh,
Sniper.
the
I don't
sniper,
know how he
American
snuck
sniper.
in, but I kind of enjoy that one. That's the only one that snuck in. Other than that, I don't read stuff like that. So, but yeah, we don't discriminate. And he says, I am writing a zombie novel now. Oh, fun, cool. I like zombies. So,
Hmm.
yeah. And this was fun. I'm just sorry you guys didn't enjoy it so much. Keep being honest. That's why I love you, as Lindsay said. We
Yeah.
love you too. And yeah, we definitely try not to like be mean, of course,
No.
but we do have to, we have to be honest. We can't just, you know, lie our way through it, because then that doesn't help anyone.
No.
So
And
we
it's
really
constructive.
appreciate you letting us, read your book. And yeah, there's definitely something there. At least I think so, and I'm definitely gonna finish it and write my review. Um, just just take another look at it and you'll be good.
Have an editor help. Have someone in publishing just give you a little extra hand.
Yeah.
Or maybe another writer friend, a beta, somebody. Somebody You don't have to be alone. This is a big, wide world. You don't
Yeah,
have to
there's
do
always
everything alone.
something you miss and some other people catch. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But always so thankful that authors are willing to share their work with us, and then we can share our reactions to it and see if things worked and meshed, and if we can provide that kind of hour-long conversation that we do to help improve or reinforce all the great things
yeah.
that are going on.
It's
So,
basically good for them, for everyone to basically hear, and also have their own opinion. Okay, I heard what you had to say. Now I want to see what I think.
mhm.
So hope we helped, and I hope you don't, feel too bad about what we said. But thank you. Yeah, thank you for the book, and um, hope to see you guys next week. Oh yeah,
2 weeks,
do not leave
I
after we're
think.
off the.
Yes. Well, I think the next live stream we were planning on doing was between Christmas and New Year's to talk
Yes,
about the books that we loved or the things we got for Christmas and
yes,
all of the books that we are looking forward to in 2016.
yeah.
Just a
So
little
that will be the next
wrap
thing.
up, fun thing, not necessarily a review, just a
Yeah,
bookworms hanging out, sharing the good stuff, and maybe with
yeah.
crazy
And
sweaters.
join us because we'll have ugly sweaters, crazy hats, the whole nine. We're gonna make it fun. And yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about everything we read, since we started in July, was it? June? And
That was
everything we're
May.
looking.
June,
No,
yeah.
it's like it was
Yeah,
like June,
because
July,
BookCon.
something like that.
Ha!
Yeah, yeah. And then we're definitely going to be talking about what we're definitely looking forward to into the new year. Um, and presents, yeah. I love presents. All right, so I guess this is it. Thank you for joining us, and bye, ladies. Do not
Thanks for
leave
watching.
for watching. Till not next week, but the next one.
2 weeks.
Bye bye.